What's going on, guys? Justin here, back with my first video in a while, and today we're going to look at 10 different cut candidates in the NFL as free agency is quickly approaching. These are some fairly big names who may be looking for a new team in 2026 due to their current contract situation. Now, there are two important numbers to consider when looking at a player's contract: their cap hit and the dead money if cut. The current cap hit is pretty straightforward, but dead money means that the team still owes the released player some money against the team's salary cap. Essentially, you take the cap hit and subtract the dead money. If this result is a positive number, then the team saves money on their cap by cutting the player. However, a negative result means the team now has less cap space than before releasing the player. I know that was quick, but I hope it helped, so let's dive into some of the big names that are at risk of being released before free agency. Dawson Knox has been a prominent Bills player over the past few years, but has a cap hit approaching $18 million in 2026. Cutting him would free up over $10 million. Additionally, if the Bills designate him for a post-June 1 cut, this can save up to $2.4 million more. A post-June 1 cut gives the team another option, but they will carry more dead cap into the following season, so in this case, that would be the 2027 season. They can choose to eat the dead cap money in year 1 or across multiple years. And the emergence of Dalton Kincaid and the potential savings are just writings on the wall for Dawson Knox. This would obviously give a big boost to Kincaid because he will be able to get on the field more, which was a major concern in 2025. In a very similar situation, Cole Kmet looks to be a cap casualty too. Like Knox, he is on track to be replaced by a younger player, and for Kmet, that's Colston Loveland. Loveland was just a top 10 pick in last year's draft and started to emerge down the stretch of last season. Not only is Loveland a reason to release Kmet, but he also has an $11.6 million cap hit, and cutting him would force the Bears to only take on $3.2 million in dead cap, meaning an $8.4 million savings. Additionally, a post-June 1 cut would give them $1.6 million more for this upcoming season. Loveland was eating away at Kmet's playing time as the season went on, but this should be a complete changing of the guard now. Staying in Chicago, or Hammond, Indiana, the Bears may also release their starting running back DeAndre Swift. Cole Kmet looks like he is being replaced by a 2025 rookie, and Swift might be too. Kyle Monangai stepped in during Swift's absence with an injury and seized the opportunity. At one point, he ran for 176 yards against the Bengals and cemented his role on the offense from that point on. He only touched the ball less than 10 times once for the remainder of the season. Like Kmet, a Swift release also provides the Bears with some cap savings. He's due $8.8 million this season, but a release would only force the Bears to take on $1.3 million in dead cap, meaning a savings of $7.5 million. Because of all this, DeAndre Swift is likely looking to join his fourth team in 5 years, and this is a solid boost to Monangai, but the Bears could still be in the running back market in free agency or through the draft. Another running back that can become a cap casualty is Joe Mixon. Mixon did not play a single snap all of this past season after suffering an offseason injury. His cap hit is an even $10 million, and cutting him would save $8 million. I can't say for sure that the Texans are fine without him and that Woody Marks is going to take over because he was very inefficient this past year. So Houston will likely be in the running back market this offseason, but that $8 million worth of savings is probably worth it, so Joe Mixon's agent better start making some calls. When looking at the data, I was surprised to see that Michael Pittman has already played 6 years in the NFL. For some reason to me, it feels like it has been much less. Regardless, he is due $29 million this year, but a release would only force the Colts to eat $5 million, meaning a whopping $24 million worth of savings. Pittman might be talented, but he hasn't topped 1,000 yards in each of the last 2 years, and with how much the Colts can save, I do see this happening. Josh Downs and Tyler Warren are two current players that would see a bump if Pittman leaves. Also, a potentially returning Alec Pierce would probably be the biggest winner. James Conner, who is coming off a gruesome injury, is another player that is at risk of being cut. His current cap hit is $9.8 million, but cutting him would force the Cardinals to only take on $2.3 million in dead cap. This comes out to a savings of about $7.5 million, and he'll be 31 by the start of next season. Trey Benson is the main beneficiary of this with 2 years left on his current deal. Amari Demercado and Michael Carter are the other two running backs that saw playing time this past season, but they are set to become free agents too. It's possible the Cardinals bring back one for cheap, but Benson should be the guy in 2026. Green Bay Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst has spoken very highly about running back Josh Jacobs, and he expects him back next year, but it is possible he ends up as a cap casualty. With a $14.5 million cap hit and a $6.2 million dead cap if cut, That means the Packers can save about $8.3 million. He wasn't as great this past season as he was the year prior, but he did deal with injuries and a worse offensive line. If Jacobs is cut, the Packers only have injury-prone Marshawn Lloyd rostered, so they would have to rebuild through free agency or the draft. Brandon Ayuk's time as a 49er is likely up regardless of his salary cap situation, but the 49ers could save some money with a post-June 1 cut. He signed a mega extension in 2024, but later that year tore his ACL, MCL, and meniscus. He was away from the team for quite some time after, and the relationship degraded. Enough so that he is almost guaranteed to be on a new team next year. The release can save the 49ers $7.1 million, but this does come as a post-June 1 cut. Juwan Jennings is set to become a free agent too, and George Kittle could miss the start of the season. The next beneficiaries of this release would be Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey. Calvin Ridley is the final wide receiver we will talk about today, as he has a massive $26.8 million cap hit for the 2026 season. If the Titans choose to cut him before June, they would free up over $13 million for the upcoming year. But if they designate him as a post-June 1 cut, then that number increases by $5 million. Up to over $18 million saved. This definitely hurts Cam Ward, as Ridley is an above average receiver, but the younger guys like Shamir DK, Alec Iomanner, and maybe even young tight end Gunnar Helm benefit from this release. Jonnu Smith was traded to Pittsburgh in the Minka Fitzpatrick trade, but never really did much after a really solid year in Miami in 2024. The Steelers already have two tight ends rostered in Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington, and Freiermuth signed a significant extension a few years ago. With Arthur Smith now gone, they probably don't need to be rostering 3 startable tight ends. The release would save the Steelers $7 million. Maybe Freiermuth and the running backs get a small bump from this transaction. Thank you guys for watching, as that's all for this video. Let me know any thoughts you have about these 10 players, and who would be the main beneficiaries if these releases happen.